Punters talking, top rope walking, ultimate Xing, serious flexing, never be vague with your boy Craig, and opinion mixing from Pete to Nixon. Keep doing things in an impactful way. Bloody nonsense, as the Brits say. Talking bloody nonsense.
Yes, it's me. It's the M.I.C. Craig, aka Mr. Impact. Joined as always by the one and only Peter Nixon. This is Talking Bloody Nonsense right here on the TNA IW channel. It's a new week, it's a new Impact, but first things first. Nixon, how are we?
I'm currently pumping up the jam. Tiny Rebels Jam Donut Pale Ale. So yeah,
Very nice.
having a lovely time. Thank you for asking. How are you, Craig? I never ask how you're doing.
I'm doing okay. Personal stuff, busy week, manic week, but things are starting to look positive. So, but I'm all good, and I'm on the strong bow because I need a drink. Not dark fruits, but I'll take it.
Sometimes we do just need a cold one.
Yeah, not dark fruits, but I'll take it. It's fine. But no, it's all good. Obviously. Again, it felt like there wasn't much talk about this week in Impact, and then today seems to be a bit more came out. And so, as you can see above me is what we have on tap. We have HonorNoMore, and whether or not whether we thought they were a success, whether it worked well. The recent news of Madison Rayne heading to AEW to coach their women's division. We're going to talk a little bit about the Josh Alexander versus Jacob Fatu Impact World Championship match from Ric Flair's last match. Talk a little bit about the impact had on the Ric Flair's last match show. Of course, we'll go through what's going to take place on Impact tonight. And in the final 10, we have how we feel Emergence is shaping up so far. A few matches have been announced, but we're going to give our opinion on how we like the card as of right now, as we record, what we think of it. Of course, Impact already announced a couple of new matches for it tonight on Impact. But this is the card as it stands. But before we get into that, let's take it to our very first, our main headline for this evening. We have HonorNoMore. Now, if you've seen Impact, spoiler alert, from last week, it says it's announced at Emergence they will have another 10-man tag against Bullet Club. At this time, should HonorNoMore lose, they will disband. Now, I think it's pretty likely they will, but we'll get into that in our Emergence talk. But so HonorNoMore have only been around a few months since Hard to Kill. They first popped up, and then, of course, they won their match to win the right to stay in Impact. Eddie Edwards joined them, and amongst Impact fans, they seem to have gathered quite a bit of momentum and people seem to have really liked them, especially PCO has become one of the top baby faces in the company right now. He's got over huge. As you know, it can go to OGK and Kenny King and Vincent and all those guys. But as a group, I'm seeing a lot of talk from a lot of people online. Again, it's online, so take it with a pinch of salt. But would you say so far, HonorNoMore have been a success? Would you say the group has worked well in Impact, given Impact's track record when it comes to factions? How do you think coming in as a group has stalled their momentum as much? Had they come in solo, would they've got a bigger push? Would they got a bigger run? Would people see them as a massive success had they come in solo? Would OGK have already won the tag team titles had it not been HonorNoMore? Would this whole thing have happened? Are they a success as a group? What's your take on that?
Right. HonorNoMore, I think, has been a success as a faction. Certainly when they came in and the first couple of months, they were a significant part of the show. They're still a significant part of the show. I think their heat has fizzled out a little bit, but in terms of each specific member, I think it's worked more for others than others. Mm-hmm. And some of them could have come in as their own gimmick, on their own, or as part of just a tag team and been just as successful. Whereas someone like Vincent, if he'd have just come in on his own, he wouldn't have made much of an impact, pun intended. Although, I've got stuff to say about Vincent. Kenny King as well. If he'd have just come in, if he'd just come back, I was like, it's Kenny King. Cool. He's been here. He's been exhibition champion.
Yeah.
He didn't have much momentum coming back. I think people like that, and Eddie Edwards as well. I think it's worked for Eddie Edwards. He needed a change. Yeah. He needed to change things up, and it's worked for him. But PCO, if he'd have just come in on his own, he would have been just as over as he is, with HonorNoMore. And the OGK, if they'd have just come in as a team with Maria, they'd have been just as successful.
Yeah.
And they might have even been tag team champions by now. I don't know how this emergence match is going to go. I don't know if they're going to break up HonorNoMore and some of them are going to leave, or if they're actually going to win the match and then finally get a shot at the tag titles with OGK, dethroning the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens at emergence. It's, I guess, it's a good hook because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yes.
That's my take on HonorNoMore. I think it's been compelling viewing for me anyway. HonorNoMore, I think, has been a success. But yeah, they could have done things better. They could have picked up a few more wins. They don't tend to win these big 10-man tags, do they?
No.
I have enjoyed the storyline, and I'm a big fan of all wrestlers involved. Vincent, I will say this quickly about Vincent. If they choose to break Vincent away from HonorNoMore, I would love to see him bring the Righteous in from Ring of Honor. Dutch and Bateman. I think are a fantastic trio. Don't know if you've ever seen Dutch's work as Bill Carr when he was with Team Tremendous.
Can't say I have.
That's your homework this week, Craig.
Okay.
Team Tremendous, Dan Barry and Bill Carr. They were a fantastic tag team on the independent circuit a few years ago.
I have to check those out. But as far as HonorNoMore goes, they've done well. They've done well as a team, as a group. But maybe coming as a group did kind of... Some of them needed to come in as the group, as you said. But when you got the likes of OGK, when you've got PCO, I don't know. The heat has massively fizzled out. It hasn't been... when it first happened, they got... Eddie was booed out of the building. It took fans a while to realise Eddie was a full heel and you shouldn't like him. But it only took a week before fans realised, okay, Eddie's not the same Eddie. He's not a good guy anymore. Let's boo him. And he's done a great job with it. Eddie needed that. He needed something fresh. He needed something new happening. And he got it with HonorNoMore. OGK could have and should have been tag team champions by now. I get it, they had the Briscoes coming in, so I understand not pulling the trigger on that as soon as they probably could have. But I think as a group, let's be real, Impact's track record with factions isn't great. But we've got to be real. You can, for every main event mafia, there's a, I don't know, world elite. Like, you've got to take the roughest move, especially when it comes to factions with Impact. And, you can go, exactly, you can go back and look at a Fortune. And the members they had in there, the group wasn't as good as it could have been.
Just to go on the Fortune sort of wavelength, Immortal, considering they were, at the top of the chain was Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, and Eric Bischoff. Yeah. They had Gunner and Murphy.
Yeah.
And I know Scott Steiner and Bully Ray were kind of in there, but real jobber faction, really.
Yeah. Just to go off on a quick tangent, because I remember first episode of Impact I ever watched. I think it was a Friday night. It was showing it, and I was staring at my hands, and I saw wrestling come up on the Sky Planner. I thought I'll give it a watch. First people I saw, Bully Ray, Scott Steiner, and Mr. Anderson. And it's the night Mr. Anderson got kicked out of Immortal. And I stuck with Impact through that. I stuck with them. I couldn't watch it as regular as I wanted to, but I stuck with them. And here we are, 10 years later, I'm talking about on the podcast. But come back off that tangent, back onto HonorNoMore.
Yes.
I don't know if it's been a success until it's happened. When it's happened, when it's reached its end, however that comes, I don't think we'll fully know until that end has been reached. But as far as the faction, it's introduced me to Vincent, who I'd known about, but never really saw a lot of. Matt Taven, again, I knew the name, I knew the reputation, but I'd never seen a Matt Taven match until he came to Impact. Same with most of these guys. PCO, apart from Mike Bennett and Kenny King, but this faction, it started off really well. Really well. They're doing everything right, in my opinion. Yeah, it's stalled a bit because it seems like they're always going in 10-man tags, and the Good Brothers seem to be involved in it somewhere along the line. But it is what it is with that. I hope if Emergence is the end of HonorNoMore, I hope they all stick around. I don't know if they will. I know Matt Taven recently said that he wants OGK want to be the first ROH, IWGP, NWA, and Impact World Tag Team Champions. Which I believe they may have mentioned the AAA Tag Team titles as well, but I have to go back and read the quote. But I'm all for that.
Yeah.
They, again, for a team I'd never seen a match of until when they won the right to stay. I forget which special it was, but it was one of the Impact Plus specials. But they impressed me, and I became a fan of them. I mean, you can look at Matt Taven. Matt Taven alone has brought a lot of fans to Impact. Like, the Matt Taven sections at Impact tapings they're very vocal. They're following the trend, if you like.
Mostly women, I've noticed.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking boy. I can't really
fair enough.
talk against him.
Nah, fair enough. But those fans who watched Impact because of Taven have now become Impact fans. I see them posting online all the time how much they enjoy Impact and not just for Taven. So, in terms of that, it's been a great success. They've brought new fans in, some lapsed fans from Impact, from TNA, or it's just like ROH fans who only stuck around for Taven,
Mm.
and now Impact have him, and Taven's good. I wouldn't be against him winning the World Championship somewhere down the line.
I was in Madison Square Garden when he won the Ring of Honor World title.
We've mentioned it.
Well, it's
No, it's great. Like, yeah, I wish I was there. But it's HonorNoMore. I've liked it. Maria is the mouthpiece. It's great. If no matter what happens at Emergence, though, PCO has to leave the group. Get PCO out of HonorNoMore. They don't need him. He doesn't need them. So get PCO out of HonorNoMore, because I think having him. So I don't know how this is gonna go. Right, I can fancy book it all I want. Maybe it does go. Maybe they do follow in the footsteps of Team Canada, and I guess PCO will be the EY of the group.
Don't fire PCO.
Who knows? But
if they break the group up, there's so many ways each member can go. Like I said about Vincent, I would bring in Dutch and Bateman. Eddie Edwards, I guess you could bring in Davey Richards. They've got a good relationship with MLW now, and reform the Wolves, or just have him as a top level villain going forward on his own.
Yeah, I mean, if they do end up splitting up, I think Eddie and PCO will be a great feud.
Yeah, definitely. I think we will see Eddie versus PCO at Bound for Glory in some form.
And I'm 100% here for it.
Mm.
Give it me. Give me now.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. So just get PC out of HonorNoMore. Not saying that he's doing a bad job of it all, because they're doing a great job with Matt. Like, they realized PC was getting over, and they realized it was happening organically, and they changed the direction of the faction.
Yeah.
So that's great booking in my view.
Definitely. Yeah.
Listen to your audience, and you can't go wrong. Obviously, don't go too far into that, but in terms of who's getting over and who's not, listen to your audience. They know, they're watching. So that's the HonorNoMore section. All in all, I think we have to wait and see how it goes at Emergence to know whether they were truly a successful faction. I mean, it's only been a short amount of time. It has, like, it feels longer in a good way, in that they've been there for a long time and they're just well established. But they haven't been there since January, so we'll have to wait and see what happens at Emergence. But I'm excited for the Emergence match. But I think we'll get into the Emergence, of course we will, in the final 10. Next, however, we move on. So that surprised me reading this. Madison Rayne is now the coach of the AEW Women's Division. I'm assuming one of the coaches, but still, she's a coach. It was announced AEW had a fair few changes in the backstage area. Backstage staff such as Sanjay Dutt and a few others, and QT Marshall. And Madison Rayne was amongst this list as being the coach of the women's division for AEW. It felt like it came out of nowhere, because it has come out of nowhere. There's no rumors Madison Rayne was unhappy with Impact. No rumors Madison Rayne was leaving Impact. Of course, it kind of makes sense that she put Marsha Slamovich over so well in their match. But yeah, Madison Rayne is now coaching the AEW Women's Division. What was your take on this, reading this news, and were you surprised? Because we all kind of thought Maria would be going over to the AEW Women's Division. But Maria's back on Impact TV now. She's running their Women's Wrestling Army, I believe. So it's Madison Rayne. Left Impact again. What's your take on this? It's definitely a surprising one.
It is surprising, especially considering Josh is so high. Josh Matthews, her husband, is so high up in Impact. that she would, it's a good opportunity for her.
Yeah.
And I hope she's making a lot of money for, her family. It is an interesting choice.
Right.
There's so many other people they could have brought in. AEW, I mean, why Madison Rayne? And she's a great choice. I think she'll do great with that roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit out of nowhere. A bit surprising that she would leave Impact for AEW, but if that's going to make her happy, then I'm all for it. AEW have a great roster of women. Unfortunately, we just don't get to see them on a regular basis.
Lack of management, I feel like, on that division.
So hopefully Madison can kick some dust over at AEW and get the women some more TV time. Just a couple more segments on the show would be nice.
I believe Britt Baker came out recently and said that they're just not getting enough TV time, and now this hiring. Madison is not surprising. Madison left Impact again, which now she it's not in a. I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but Madison now has left the Impact for every other major company. She's left with Ring of Honor, WWE, NXT, and now she's left to AEW. But Madison was recently, at some recent tapings, a producer backstage. She was working as a producer role. Do you think that's why AEW hired? Do you think AEW will maybe use her on TV?
I think if they're bringing her in as a coach, as a producer, then we will not see her as an active wrestler for AEW.
Right.
I think maybe she's looking to transition out of that. Maybe Impact didn't have a spot for her in a coaching role, and therefore the job was open at AEW and she took it. Yeah,
more than likely. You look at it's obviously Gail Kim's in charge of the Knockouts division as far as we're aware. Obviously, I'm assuming Scott D'Amore and others have a hand in it, but it seems to be very much Gail Kim's baby. Got Christy Hemme in there, and Madison seemed to be a key part in that. But what do you see happening now with the Influence? Is it just going to be Tenille and Giselle? Is Tenille gone? Like, isn't it on TV in a few weeks? Like, what do you see on this one? Because it has come out of nowhere. It's still seems to impact quite a bit of stuff, pun intended. With Madison, she had retired a couple of years ago, but she not for Knockouts tag team champion. What are you thinking on this one with the whole Influence thing?
Maybe they knew Madison was on her way out, and that's why they took the belts off them at Slammiversary. But I think that was going to happen anyway. Yeah. They wanted to give Ragnarok a run with the belts. But yeah, maybe they knew Madison was finishing up. So they transitioned Giselle into the group and had Masha kill Madison Rayne off. And maybe now Tenille and Giselle will be the Influence.
It really is an interesting one, because Madison Rayne, like I said, she's left Impact again. Obviously, if it's different, obviously if this is what she wants to do, and Impact can't offer her that, go for it. Take whatever chance you get. But it's a surprise. A great choice in coach. Madison, I think it's fairly safe to say Madison Rayne has been underrated for most of her career. When you look at Knockouts division, most people go to Gail Kim. Now, there's Ty Valkyrie and Velvet Sky and so many others, Awesome Kong. Madison is kind of, when people give their top 5 knockouts, Madison's probably 6th or 7th for a lot of people. But it's not to say she hasn't worked her ass off and did it, and such an important piece of knockouts division. Like if you're doing the Mount Rushmore of knockouts, Madison Rayne is on there.
100%.
Can't overlook her. 7-time knockouts champion, 6-time, 7-time,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and multiple-time knockouts tag team champion. Some incredible feuds with Gail Kim. Part of the Beautiful People. She's done a lot with Impact, and fair enough. She wants a different challenge. She's getting at AEW, and yeah, hopefully she can make an impact on the Knockouts division and on the AEW Women's division, because that's been a subject of many other podcasts with many other people. The Women's division. Hopefully, with Madison coming in, it's in the right direction for that division, because there are some talented people on that roster.
Oh yeah. I see that Tony Khan has trademarked the term All Elite Women. So maybe they're looking to do a new show. Maybe they've got another hour of TV time, or they're planning on doing a new YouTube show. But yeah, I'm guessing it'll be an hour or 2 hours of women's matches, which would be a good way to feature the women.
Yeah.
And I'm certain, because Tony loves bringing in new title belts. We've just had the All Atlantic Championship brought in. They're about to do the Trios tournament. So it's just a matter of time before they do a women's tag tournament. Well, they've already done the tournament, but they're bound to bring in women's tag belts at some point. So
wasn't that tournament for a medal or something? They advertised
medal trophy. I can't remember.
I think it was because after Fire and Flavor won the Knockouts tag team titles, Tasha cut a fire promo saying when you have a tag tournament, you basically put title, you make it for championships, not for a medal that that you don't see next week. Which, it's speaking of, again, I'm no tangent, but the All Atlantic title, it made me laugh. I saw this thing on social media. Now the All Atlantic title is more of a world title than the AEW world title.
Well, yeah, because Pac has defended it in the UK.
Yeah, several times. Next, this outcome was defense against Connor Mills. Incredible talent. And Rev Pro have done Rev Pro. It's cool for Rev Pro being on AEW's YouTube channel. It's great for them. Not that I necessarily need it, because obviously, Will Ospreay is the British heavyweight champion, and he walked out. He's walked out with that belt to Wrestle Kingdom a few times. So was Zack Sabre Jr. But it's still cool that more people are becoming aware of Rev Pro and all the other companies over here. So it's like with the we'll get into that now, but the Jonathan Gresham won an opportunity for the Progress World Championship at Ric Flair's final match, which was great stuff. Speaking of Ric Flair's final match, Josh Alexander defended the Impact World Championship there against Jacob Fatu. Full disclosure, I haven't seen the match, but I've seen the key parts of it, and looked like a banger. People are calling for a rematch, and I'm all for it. Let's do it. But again, we mentioned it last week a little bit more detail on it in the final 10. But Impact's fingerprints were all over this one, from the referees to I believe you mentioned there was Davis Hardy was running the truck, and a lot seemed to be centered around the Impact brand.
Stinky.
I went right over my head, but I didn't know what was going on. Oh dear. Anywho, yes, back to the AEW Impact World Championship match. Ended in some controversy. Major players, Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, and Smart Mark Sterling attacked both competitors to finish the match. Of course, Josh retained I'm guessing no contest, but online they called it a DQ, but more likely to be no contest. As the major players are putting a beat down on the Impact World Champion, DDP popped up. A sort of Impact alumni. Competed for the Impact World Championship, or the NWA TNA World Championship, but still same lineage. I didn't see this match, so you can highlight it. What's like the match itself? What did you make of it? Then the situation following with Cardona looked good on his shoulder, on his bicep rather, and obviously Myers and Mark Sterling and DDP getting involved in an Impact match. What was your whole take on this situation? What are you thinking?
Well, yeah, there's a lot to say about this. Like you said, Impact headed up production for Ric Flair's last match, and their fingerprints were all over the show. There was a couple of adverts for Emergence on the show, on the pay-per-view. You had Scott D'Amore and Tom Hannafin popping up doing commentary on some of the matches.
Nice.
Jordan Gray successfully defended the Knockouts title against Rachel Ellering and Deonna Purrazzo. You had, Impact guys popping up in the Bunkhouse Battle Royal. The Briscoes have just been Impact Tag Team Champions. They were against the Von Erichs on the show. So these two matches went back to back. Okay. It was a four-way, AAA showcase four-way. Phoenix, Laredo Kid, Black Taurus, and Bandido. Incredible match.
I can imagine.
Absolutely outstanding. The Impact Tag Team Title Dream Match, not tag titles. Impact Tag Team Dream Match. Yeah. That opened the show. And we've said so many times how important that spot is opening the show.
Yeah.
Motor City Machine Guns and the Wolves. Great match. But yeah, after the AAA four-way, it was Josh Alexander defended the world title against Jacob Fatu from MLW. And this is the match people are talking about. This is the match that has generated the most buzz, apart from the main event, obviously. And for the fact that it followed that four-way and people are talking about Josh and Fatu, just goes to show how much people enjoyed that match. Even considering, the bullshit finish.
Yeah.
People want to see this match again, and they want to see a decisive winner. I understand maybe there had to be a bullshit finish because Jacob Fatu couldn't go down. Maybe he's on a winning streak in MLW or something. I don't know. I don't think he's actually lost many matches in his career. So, and obviously they didn't want to do a title switch. So, yeah, maybe it called for a bullshit finish.
Yeah.
But there's definitely room for a rematch down the road. Whether they do that on an Impact Plus special or an MLW show, or maybe at some point we see an Impact versus MLW joint show, which I think would be fantastic. And then you had the major players running interference, which is totally out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know why it happened. That obviously major players were pissed off that they weren't showcased on the show. They did a thing at Starcast the day before or the day of. And yeah, maybe they just wanted to interject somehow in one of the matches, and that's the match they chose. Cardona looked good. He was moving around well. So I'm guessing rehab is going well.
Yeah.
And, months ago, I predicted that the Bound for Glory main event would be Josh Alexander versus Matt Cardona. So there's still an outside chance we could see it.
It's heading that way.
If Cardona's healthy and Cardona's sticking his nose in Josh Alexander's business, then why shouldn't we see Josh versus Cardona at Bound for Glory? So yeah, I'm excited about where this could all lead.
Yeah.
I'm excited. You need to see the match.
I'll have to check it out.
This is first and foremost. We will find a way for you to watch it. They've got to have a rematch at some point with a decisive winner. Whether it is on Impact territory or MLW territory, it's got to happen. People want it, and money talks.
Yeah,
this will be a draw. So yeah, very excited about the future of this match and this storyline.
I mean, I'm familiar with Jacob Fatu, not only because of his family heritage, which speaks for itself, but I dropped in and out of MLW for quite a few years. But when Contra came around, I was in. If you Contra and Filthy Tom Lawler, great. For what? And Contra pulled off some batshit stuff. And then Jacob Fatu popped up and just looked like a beast, which the man is. You don't fuck with that man, pure and simple. You just don't. It's kind of a tangent. I remember seeing a clip years ago. Some fan stepped onto them from behind the barriers and in front of Jacob Fatu, gave him mouth, and Fatu clotheslined him. Fair enough. You want to get out? You want to step out from being a fan behind the barrier? You're a wrestler. You want to get over the barrier? You're a wrestler. And take what comes to you. But no, it's clear. I didn't know. I didn't. A lot of people didn't know they needed to see this match. But now it's happened. I understand why people want to see more of it. Because Fatu is he's a monster, and Josh, I've said so many times, right now for me, Josh Alexander is one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. And the fact this was over the Impact World Championship, and also I don't know the buy rate of this pay-per-view, but I imagine it got quite a bit of attention. Just for the main event alone. So, and if that can only have impacts, because somebody kind of mentioned it in an interview recently. People saying they can't watch Impact is bullshit. They've got no to watch Impact is bullshit. Because it is. Like, if you have the internet, you have Impact Wrestling. They made that a thing, and it's so true. 99p on YouTube, you can watch Impact every week.
And 99p a month. That's 25p a show.
Yeah.
It doesn't have 25p.
Yeah. And then, of course, but obviously, let's plug, it's 99p a month, and that's just Impact. But what, $4.99 a month, and you get access to everything Impact's produced in the last 6-7 months, maybe before that. You get old pay-per-views, you get Impact, you get the plus specials. Like, come on, there's no excuse. And hopefully this match did its job and got people wanting to watch Impact. So like I said, I didn't watch it. Just had I can't remember why I didn't watch it now.
The pay-per-view was expensive.
Yeah.
$34.99 in dollars. I think it was upwards of 20 quid over here.
Yeah. I think the main thing that stopped me was I've said before, I'm just never been the biggest Ric Flair fan. And really, there's only 3 matches on this card I want to see. It's just not worth it for me. But no, I'm glad Impact did well on this card, because it kind of, I think, need to, but it can only help if, and plus, Josh Alexander, Mercy Machine Guns, Eddie Edwards, David Richards, the Wolves. You've got Jordan Grace, Noel Prazo, Rachel Ellering, who was Impact. Obviously, that's just a whole mess, which we still know what's going on, but I'm guessing the relationship isn't that bad if Impact were okay with Rachel Ellering being in a match for the Knockouts World title. I'm guessing it's not as bad as people making out it was. So we don't know, but it doesn't look to be as cracked as people making it out to be when it first happened.
Well, who really cares?
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds harsh, but she's not a big loss. We've got better women on the Impact roster than Rachel Ellering.
Yeah, it is what it is for Rachel Ellering, but it's that, and those the people contacted the Impact are some of the very best in the world. Mercy Machine Guns, best tag team in the world. The Wolves, again, it's argument that can be made for them being the best tag team in the world. We've got Josh Alexander, arguably the best champion in wrestling right now. Roman Reigns is kind of losing his shine, and Mox hasn't really. Mox isn't actually the champ right now. It's just interim, which interim seems to be thrown around quite a lot lately. They're using interim in a lot of things, which is interesting.
Well, yeah, needs must. I know injuries happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to when CM Punk finally returns and they do the title for title match. But that's for an AEW podcast to talk about.
So for me, in terms of like world champions, like faces of the companies, I think Josh Alexander's probably the best champion right now.
I think put Josh together with Jordan Grace, and you've got two best. Yeah,
they're on fire, and I'm glad Impact got to showcase in front of a lot of people who maybe wouldn't have watched Impact. Maybe I'm guessing there are a lot of old school fans watching that show who maybe have fallen out of love with the current product, who might have enjoyed that match, and it can only be a good thing for wrestling in general. But yeah, actually, I didn't watch it, but I will have to try and figure out a way of watching that because I have to see it. But all in all, I'm glad it went well. I saw the finish of the main event. Not great, but how was Ric Flair now? What, he's in his 80s?
No, he's 73. So before I saw the main event, I saw someone tweet out the comment, somehow the main event was better than expected, but also worse than expected. And I thought, what is this guy talking about? And then I watched the match, and it makes total sense. Yeah.
So I haven't seen it, but I also saw the thing online. Ric Flair wanted to do a suicide dive, and Charlotte said no chance. Which, of course, I was going to say no. Even with the best shape in the world, at 73, you're not doing dives to the outside. I mean, unless you're Mike Jackson.
Yeah. He wouldn't have been able to get through the ropes.
No.
He didn't have enough pep in his step. If he'd have done a dive from the top rope to the outside, you've got big old Andrade, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett there to catch him. I think it would have been all right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have liked to have seen it. But,
I'm good.
Yeah. Right. Ric Flair. Yeah. He's probably the best ever. He's got that legacy. One last hurrah. regardless of how he looked in that match, is not going to spoil his legacy.
No.
He's Ric fucking Flair. So people that are going online saying, "Oh, it was an embarrassment," who cares? He's Ric Flair. He wanted one last match. He powered through it. He did it. He drew a big house. You know, just let it go.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that card alone was great. Just looking at the card. Obviously, I didn't see any of the matches, but the look of the card looked great, and I can't imagine it was that much of a letdown. So,
well, they had a lot. Yeah, I mean, you saw how big the card was. A lot of matches. They crammed all those matches into 2 hours because the last hour was dedicated to Ric Flair and the main event. So some of the matches were short. The Briscoes and the Von Erichs never really got going for me.
That's a shame.
You know, the tag match, Kerry and Ricky Morton versus the new Horsemen, Brian Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson, was looking like it was about to get going, and then bam, that was it. It finished. Yeah. So yeah, the two matches I mentioned were fantastic. The women's three-way was good. If it had been, the only match, what am I trying to say? If it had been another show, that could have been the best match on the show, the women. But having to follow those, the Fatal 4-Way from AAA and the Impact World Title match, it would never have been considered better than those two. But it was still a very good match. But yeah, the other matches on the show, unfortunately, didn't hit for me. The Impact Dream tag team match was pretty good, but I've seen better work from both teams. So for me, it was a little bit of a letdown.
Fair enough. No, not. I said we said it many times, but it's very difficult to get a 10 out of 10 for any card. No matter who you put on it, it's very hard to get a 10 out of 10. So it was resting, and people will never forget that moment seeing Ric Flair's final match. And obviously, you might be outshone by that, but there was so many. I have to see it, but Josh Alexander, Jacob Fatu was always going to be a banger. But I think I'll have to definitely seek that one out. So those are the headlines for another week. Before we head on over to the Power Rankings, we're going to take a look at the upcoming card for Impact tonight, if you're watching on the Thursday as this airs. We have Doc Gallows taking on PCO in a Derby City street fight. Marsha Slamovich takes on Giselle Shaw. Violent by Design takes on the Motor City Machine Guns. Deonna Purrazzo takes on Rosemary with Taya Valkyrie and Jessica. I think that's against Jessica at some point because that's interesting. Brian Myers defends the Digital Media Championship against Black Taurus. Sami Callihan takes on Raj Singh. And on BTI, Alicia Edwards takes on Savannah Evans. Just quickly, that's probably a stupid question, but what I'm most looking forward to seeing tonight?
Well, Violent by Design versus Motor City Machine Guns, that's going to be a good one. But how crazy is Doc Gallows versus PCO going to be? We know what PCO is capable of, but we've seen Doc Gallows do some pretty cool stuff. Remember when he put Joe Doring through the stage last year?
I believe that was voted the TNIW's Elite Skipper Award. Spot of the
Yeah, absolutely, and deservedly so. I think that could be an interesting little watch. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in that one.
Oh yes, and Giselle versus Marsha. Because I thought Giselle was in on it somehow. Turns out not to be. But it should all be good, Matt. A good show as always. Brian Myers is obviously going to retain the Digital Media Championship.
Yeah, but it's a tough challenge because Taurus, even though I feel like his momentum has been like simmering because Decay just aren't the most prominent faction. Taurus's momentum is picking up, not just in Impact. He's doing some cool stuff elsewhere. So yeah, I think that'll be a really good match. And how is Myers going to get out of it?
I think Rupinder will have some involvement in this one, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Let's know what you thought of Impact, of course. But now let's take it on over to the power rankings. Agree, disagree, let us know. Here comes the power rankings.
Number 10, Tag Team Champions Team Ragnarok. Number 9, Tag Team Champions Bullet Club. Number 8, Killer Kelly. Number 7, World Champion Jordan Grace. Number 6, Trey Miguel. Number 5, X Division Champion Mike Bailey. Number 4, The Death Machine Sami Callihan. Number 3, Kushida. Number 2, Eddie Edwards and HonorNoMore. Number 1, World Champion Josh Alexander.
And we are back. We'll take it on to the final 10. We're going to take a look at the emergence card, how it's shaping up, what we're maybe throw in a couple of early predictions, but won't go into too much depth on it. Off the card, we have Josh Alexander defending the Impact World Championship against Alex Shelley. Ray Horus takes on Bandito. Jordan Grace defends the Knockouts World Championship against Mia Yim. Ragnarok of Rosemary and Ty Valkyrie with Jessica defending the Knockouts World Tag Team Championship against Vexed of Dion Peraza and Chelsea Green. And HonorNoMore take on Bullet Club in a 10-man tag. If HonorNoMore lose, they will disband. So that's the card. What immediately calls out to you as the match you've got your eyes, your sights set on? I'm
going to get it.
Okay, so
I'm looking forward to the main event. I think Josh and Alex Shelley is going to be tremendous.
Yeah.
Really interesting clash. I got it. Interesting clash of styles. You've got a hard-hitting sort of strong style wrestler in Josh Alexander, but who could also wrestle his ass off, versus a technical wizard in Alex Shelley. I think that's going to be outstanding. Only one winner, but I'm still looking forward to seeing, the match. As they say, styles make fights, and this is going to be a hell of a fight.
So, in terms of this World Title match, the Impact World Title match, would you say this is Josh Alexander's first real chance where he could lose it? Is there a way you could see him losing this? Like, of all the others we've said, it's going to be a great match, but there's no way Josh is going to lose. Is this the one where maybe he could lose?
That is tough, because I want to believe that Alex Shelley has a chance. And he is the most likely candidate out of recent memory that could, dethrone Josh. It's in Cicero Stadium, which is a great venue, big venue, and it's looking like it's going to sell out, which is fantastic news.
I think awesome.
And Chicago crowds are always hot. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing the show as a whole. But, I think the crowd will be there for the main event. So that'll be really cool to watch. But I still don't think Josh loses the belt.
No, it is a tough one because Josh. We mentioned before. Josh hasn't really had a challenger where everyone is fully believing this could be the one he loses, and if people keep thinking and their minds keep going that way, it could really affect the way this title run goes. Impact need to get some real challenges in where they think, oh shit, Josh is going to lose this one, because no one's fully believed it. You know, you can Ishii, Moose, EY, Joe Doring, and now Alex Shelley. That's some good names. Some very, very good names. But no one's ever fully believed Josh is going to lose, which is a problem.
Definitely.
But Impact's booking, they've had the benefit of the doubt. I've said it so many times, but they know what they're doing here. Ray Horus versus Bandito. I'm not too familiar with Bandito. The first ever Ring of Honor show, the one and only Ring of Honor show I've ever watched. Bandito main evented against Silas Young for the world title. The opener was Gresham versus Alex Shelley, which fucking blew me away, even though practically no one in the crowd. It was downplayed for Ring of Honor. But I still enjoyed that match because Gresham is fucking phenomenal. But Bandito, I can't say I've got the hype. Maybe because I haven't seen enough of his matches. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Ray Horus, I know. They say it's his first time on Impact, but I swear he's been on Impact before. Maybe it was one of those extravaganzas they see if they want that owners. But I swear Ray Horus has been on Impact before. I might be thinking of someone else, but I think it's Ray Horus. I know the name very, very well.
A couple of years ago, when Impact did some tapings from Mexico, he might have been on those.
Could have been a. I think it was a plus special. It was the Pump family, Jordan, Petey, and Scott. Ray Horus might have been on that team they faced. But I can't remember. But I think Ray Horus has been in Impact before. But obviously, you said, when we mentioned it last week, you mentioned that you're excited for it. Obviously, and said you want Impact to sign Bandito. Is that still the case?
Oh my god! I've recently rewatched the WrestleCon Super Show from 2019. Myself and Kaylee were in the crowd for it. And I picked up the Blu-ray recently and I watched it. The main event is Bandito versus Will Ospreay. Holy shit, what a match! And like I've mentioned before, Bandito versus Speedball Mike Bailey from WrestleCon this year. One of the best matches this year so far.
Yeah.
And it was the opener. Absolutely incredible. And Bandito, former Ring of Honor World Champion, been doing some cool stuff lately. I'd be so interested to see what he does with the current Impact roster, because there's so many cool matches that he could have. Imagine Bandito versus Chris Sabin.
I mean I can't, because I don't know Bandito's work that well.
Okay,
but
that was an imagine to the audience listening.
Yeah,
maybe not to yourself, Craig.
We're out there in the interweb world.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to you, Craig, finally experiencing Bandito, because he is outstanding.
I know who he is. I know he was Ring of Honor World Champion at a bad time for the company.
Yeah.
But still did enough to get a lot of people talking about him. So I'm intrigued to see him. I mean, yeah, Ray Horace should be fun. I'm always down for the lucha style, always. So I'm excited to see it. Grace versus Yem for the Knockouts World title. What is happening there?
I can see this being the catalyst for Grace potentially turning villain.
Really?
Yes. And maybe Grace wins this one, but then, in cheap fashion, leading to a rematch at Bound for Glory where Mia Yim wins the belt. Regardless, it's going to be a hell of a match. Two of my favourite people to watch at the moment. I think they're both fantastic. Oh, nice.
Pick that up. A little bit familiar in the UK. Like we know it. B&M. £5. Oh, stuff it.
Love B&M. Kaylee loves going to B&M.
Yeah. So I get flashbacks every time I go in there with my older sister because no, never again. But yeah, I'm excited for Grace and Yem. They're gonna smash it because it's the Knockouts division. I can't think of a bad knockouts match in general. There hasn't really been anything. It's the best division in wrestling right now. Regardless of gender, it's the best division in wrestling right now because they just smash it every time. And Jordan Grace is a great face of that division, and I hope they stick with it. I hope they stick with Jordan for a little while longer, at least a Bound for Glory, at least.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be offended if they kept the belt on Jordan for 2 years.
Yeah, go for it. Ragnarok versus Vexed for the Knockouts tag titles. We'll talk a little bit now. Jessica. I mean, where to start on that one?
Right. So I think she has been so entertaining in her backstage segments.
Yeah.
Have you met Jessica Havoc?
No, I haven't.
I met her very briefly at a Southside show here in St Neots or St Ives. Must have been St Neots in Cambridgeshire.
Mm.
I think she might have wrestled Alex Windsor. But I caught up with Jessica Havoc during the interval. She is wonderful.
Yes.
One of the nicest wrestlers I've ever met. And not too far away from the current character she's portraying. Just very enthusiastic about everything and just a lovely person. Yeah,
she comes across very well. I mean, I've only ever seen her do her Twitch streams or whatever, but a little cheeky plug here, kind of. Jessica Havoc was mentioned by our previous guest, our latest guest on TBN Chats, Charlie Morgan, if you didn't see the announcement, which we're very excited about that one. Dropping very soon. Keep your eyes out. We'll make a real announcement when it's about to drop, but keep an eye out for that because it was a good one.
Oh, she could talk. Very fun. Yeah, she's a great interview.
Very fun. But that's for another time. Quickly before we head off, HonorNoMore, Bullet Club. We have to talk about a little bit about it, but HonorNoMore don't really tend to win the 10-man tag matches. What on earth happens here?
Regardless of how it goes, I mean, I'm not bothered either way if they win or lose, because I think if they lose and HonorNoMore disbands, I think OGK still gets a shot at the tag titles down the line and win the belts. I think they need to win the belts soon.
Yeah,
soon.
Very, very soon. Yeah. And it's well, what happens as long as they all stick around because they've all been great. So I don't know what's going to happen here. But if the rumors are true and the Good Brothers are leaving sooner than we thought, maybe HonorNoMore do win, and then they adopt tag titles at the next show, because at the next tapings rather. Because if I'm right in saying, I do believe Emergence is one night the live show, following night taped, and then released for Impact, as you mentioned.
Right.
So I think I reckon if HonorNoMore win, Good Brothers are gone. I just don't, because that whole Good Brothers thing is so confusing. But I reckon HonorNoMore, if they win, I think Good Brothers are gone. So, but we'll soon see.
Irregardless, it's going to be a fantastic match. I'm looking forward to see how the HonorNoMore sextuplet. I guess it's 5-on-5, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a quintuplet.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how they interact with the newest Bullet Club members, Chris Bay and Ace Austin. I think there'll be some cool matches in that 5-way.
And just before we go, do you think, can you see Heath involvement? Because I've been loving this thing from Heath. I've been loving it.
It's been cool, hasn't it? Like, where is he going to strike next? Yeah. It's
been great. And HonorNoMore last week, stopping the show, blocking the truck, and such good stuff.
Yeah.
But that's Impact. That's everything we can talk about for another week. Of course, follow us here, there, everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you podcast. As mentioned, TBN Chats number 10 with Charlie Morgan will be dropping very soon. If it hasn't dropped already by the time you're watching this, it should have, but keep an eye out for that. Of course, go back and watch every episode of TBN Chats, and just enjoy Impact, enjoy wrestling, because it's a lot of fun. So, Nixon, if you've got anything to say before we head off?
Thank you to Frank Fiot for the entrance music, and just carry on supporting wrestling. Carry on enjoying wrestling.
There we have it. I've been MIC. This has been Nixon. Until next time, goodbye, my friends.